KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson and the Adahi Tanu program. Cars Plus, visit today during our spring sales event. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Primetime, the fate of the former LT rests in the hands of a jury who is now deliberating in his gun-grabbing case. Plus, an update to the vacancy over at the medical examiner's office. The AG announced a temporary fix. And senators back in session today. Details from the Guam Congress building during day one of the discussion.
Hafid, good evening. We begin with heartbreaking news as police confirm one person is dead, 2 others hurt in a 3-car crash around 1:30 this afternoon. It happened on Price Road in Manila by Route 10. Now, one victim was taken to Naval Hospital. The woman, his 67-year-old woman, we were told, died from her injuries. Another was taken to the Guam Memorial Hospital. We will provide more information as soon as it becomes available. Well, his fate is now left for a jury to decide. Deliberations underway in the trial against former Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. Each juror listening in on closing arguments today.
Weighing out the testimony and the evidence, that's what the jury in Ray Tenorio's gun-grabbing case is doing. They are now deliberating whether or not to find Tenorio guilty or not guilty of reckless conduct and obstructing government function. The former LT is accused of repeatedly grabbing a GPD Sergeant Carl Cruz's loaded weapon at the barbecue block party in Tumon last year. During closing arguments, the prosecution replayed KUAM's interview with Tenorio and tallied for the jury that he apologized 20 times and admitted that he was wrong and regretted it at least 8 times throughout the recording. Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley.
Sergeant Cruz is never disciplined for anything that happened that night, because he didn't do anything wrong. The only one who did something wrong that night was Ray Tenorio. Those actions were reckless and endangered the lives of Sergeant Cruz, the nearby officers, and the general public. The key in all of this is, did Ray Tenorio's conduct of grabbing the gun from Sergeant Cruz distract the officers from their duty? He admits that he did. We ask that you find him guilty as charged.
The defense, however, argued Tenorio's actions were a matter of public safety.
He's got the authority to do what it is he did, and he did it because he thought, right or wrong, he thought he had to act. Well, and he acted. That's the kind of guy he is.
Attorney Tom Fisher even told the jury that the alcohol issue is off the table. The former lieutenant governor had testified that he only had 2 to 3 beers that night and that he was not drunk.
Of course, he's apologizing because, one, as he said, he's embarrassed the governor, Governor Calvo. Primarily, he's embarrassed Sergeant Cruz. He felt at the time, it was clear from that, he felt at the time that he had let down the people of Guam. He's the lieutenant governor. He gets his, and he steps in this mess, and the people of Guam are like, wait a minute, you know, where are you bringing us, LT? So that's why he apologized, not because he did anything wrong. Ray Tenorio has dedicated 30 years to public service, unblemished, except for this. Ray Tenorio, as you saw, has apologized. Yes, he has apologized. To the governor, and most importantly to the people of Guam. And he has apologized to Sergeant Cruz. And you know, he's here trying to clear his name. He's trying to clean his name. This is terrible. You know, terrible, just terrible. So I'd ask you to go back in your deliberation rooms and think about the things that I've spoken about. And also think about what Mr. Mallon has said, of course. And I'd ask you to come back with a verdict of not guilty.
The prosecution took one last shot at addressing the jury.
Make sure he has learned his lesson. Tell him what he did is wrong. And that even as the lieutenant governor, even as the public safety chair, no one is above the law. Everyone must be held accountable for their actions.
The prosecution and defense each spent more than half an hour delivering closing arguments. Stay with KUAM as we will bring you the latest on the case once a unanimous verdict is reached. Well, you may have seen the video circulating on social media. A man getting out of a black car, taking out a gun, shooting it at least 3 times into the air, and then driving off. The incident occurred yesterday afternoon along Balaku Street in Mongmong. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but the suspect, identified as Gerald Anthony Guerrero Shimizu, was placed under arrest on multiple charges, including reckless conduct and terrorizing. This wouldn't be the first time he's been arrested. According to our files, Shimizu was arrested back in 2016 after he was caught on camera threatening families in the same village with a machete. MTM Mayor Rudy Paco confirms Shimizu is a resident of the village. It remains unclear what motivated the suspect to shoot the gun in the air multiple times. Well, a draft contract is in the works to hire a new chief medical examiner, at least part-time. Since the retirement of Dr. Aurelio Espinola in January, Guam has been operating without a doctor to perform autopsies in cases of suspicious or unusual deaths. The lack of any autopsy is of concern for at least one major ongoing case. Carmen Chalahi has more.
An aggravated murder indictment and still no autopsy. Since the start of this year, Guam has been operating without a chief medical examiner. So could this impact the government's recent homicide case in Harmon?
We want to put together the strongest possible case, and we've been in contact with the family, and we want to strike that balance. You know, we know that they want to have some closure from their perspective, but they also understand that we want to be able to present our case to a jury if we go that far. So it is important to have a forensic pathologist assist us in this autopsy, and we are doing everything we can to have one on island.
AG Levin Camacho is referring to the case for Frank Guzman, who is charged in the murder of Piyong Sik Lee in Harmon last month. The grand jury handed down the indictment, even though Lee's autopsy was never performed. The Attorney General's office says it's working with the CNMI to help secure funding. The chief medical examiner position, listed with a $200,000 minimum salary, was made vacant after Dr. Aurelio Espinola retired in January. But the job announcement from the Commission on Postmortem Examinations opened in December 2017. The AG says a major challenge in securing a doctor is a nationwide shortage in forensic pathologists.
I mean, everywhere across the country, people are struggling to find medical examiners. The challenge that we have being in Guam is, it's easier if you're from the States to be able to move back and forth or to visit with family. I mean, it's a commitment to move all the way out here.
Today, the commission lacked quorum. Only the Attorney General and Acting Chief of Police Steve Ignacio attended the meeting. Camacho says a draft contract is in the works to hire a CME, at least part-time.
The second update is that we have identified interested parties to kind of be the stopgap for now and to do autopsies, forensic autopsies on a case-by-case basis. We've provided a draft contract, and we're hoping to hear back from them soon.
But as far as a long-term permanent chief medical examiner to aid in investigations on island, do we have a timeline?
As soon as possible.
The Attorney General says details will be made available once the part-time contract is finalized. Reporting for Guam Seas Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Chalahi.
Well, Air Transportation Committee Chair Senator Talina Nelson is sticking to her decision to withhold the nomination of former Port Chair Dan Tidinko to the airport board. Nelson says while she understands the governor's position, she still won't move forward with the nominee because the community has expressed grave concern. Governor Leon Guerrero said Wednesday she stands by Tidinko and is urging a full review and a vote by the full committee. Meanwhile, Port Attorney Mike Phillips, who helped investigate the case in which 7 employees were fired in connection to the $70,000 illegal worksman comp claim, says he supports the governor's call and would welcome a chance to testify under oath before senators.
I really doubt people are looking at all the information that Dan has, because it is overwhelming, and admittedly it's very painful that people in the community, just like happened in the United States with Watergate, you just don't want to believe the people in charge would do such a thing. Unfortunately, that's the information confirms that they did.
He defends Tidinko, saying, quote, he didn't create this, it was dumped in his lap. He says the board had to make a tough call, but he believes it was the right one.
All the employees that had those merit hearings at one point or another admitted exactly what they were accused of doing. Now, don't get me wrong, they didn't admit they had bad intent. At times they would say, I don't know why I did it, I just did it. But at one point in all those transcripts, you will find, or I'll find for you, the portions that say, I did it. I admit I did it. Okay, I did that. And so the board was right.
Port General Manager Senator Mary Torres were removed by the board. The employees are still challenging their terminations, but their cases have been bouncing back and forth between the Civil Service Commission and the local courts. No criminal charges have ever been filed against them. Day one of the March legislative session saw 3 bills passed by senators, and they also approved various agency and board nominations. The bills were to appropriate the $298,000 to the Election Commission to cover campaign 2018 costs, to require timely publication of violation notices and settlement agreements by the Environmental Protection Agency, and to define the 90-day limit of acting agency director appointments. But it was a resolution by Senator Amanda Shelton that generated some of the most impassioned speeches by senators. The measure calls for expedited war claim payments. Shelton was a staffer for former Delegate Madeline Berdalia, who pushed through a law which authorizes the payouts. Funding of the war claims payments will come from the annual Section 30 funds, which are taxes paid by federal and military employees that are rebated to GovGuam. The money is available, but the law passed by Berdalia did not include a provision authorizing the Treasury Department to disperse it. Governor Leon Guerrero and Delegate Mike San Nicolas are seeking administrative and legislative remedies to now allow Treasury to proceed with the payouts. Session resumes Friday morning. It's a measure on the session agenda, but the Guam Visitors Bureau not thinking green when it comes to adult use cannabis. GVB President Pilar Laguatnia, in a letter to Speaker Tina Munya Barnes, asking the legislature to delay action on Senator Clint Rigel's adult use cannabis bill. Laguatnia says GVB is going to conduct an impact study with its source markets. Tourism Chair Senator Teresa Lahi says she's touched base with GVB and she supports their efforts to get more info on how legal weed would affect Guam's main economic driver.
It sounds like they're ready to do a study, or they're working on it already, and so I'm curious to see what that's going to show.
In the GVB letter, Laguatnia says legal weed would hurt Guam's image as a family-friendly and safe destination. While GVB is asking for a delay, Talahi says she's asked the agency for a more specific timeline. Meanwhile, the concerns being raised by the AG, GVB, and the GOP. Adult use cannabis bill author Senator Rigel remains confident he has his colleagues' support.
On the bill, so I just need to pick up 2 more votes. I'm optimistic I'll get those votes.
Meanwhile, Republicans have called for adult use cannabis to be placed on the ballot in 2020, saying the decision should be left to voters. Well, stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
The next generation Galaxy has arrived. See it and believe it. The Infinity O display is the most innovative Galaxy screen yet. Capture the wider world. Take stunning photos with a 123-degree field of vision. Use your phone to charge other wireless charging devices. Don't just stand out, stand apart.
And MTO, professional janitorial services with a warm hospitality touch. MTO gives that gift year-round. Pressure wash roofs, pressure wash driveways, lawn service, home cleaning, carpet restoration, office cleaning, commercial window cleaning, floor care. When cleaning is in order, MTO has you covered. Call 647-6861 to inquire on how you can receive the maintenance you deserve.
MTO, celebrating 30 years with you, Guam.
Looking for a great deal on a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Then get to Cars Plus in Mighty now for our spring sales event. Like a new Jeep Compass Sport, $166 per paycheck. Or a new Chrysler Pacifica LX, $220 per paycheck. Or save $8,500 on a new Ram 1500. How about a new Jeep Wrangler Sport? Only $274 per paycheck. Low 1.99% financing is available on approved credit. Save thousands during our spring sales event going on now at Cars Plus in Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Welcome back. Well, a settlement conference has been scheduled for the ongoing child sex clergy sex abuse cases. According to an order signed by Senior Judge Alex Munson, a hearing has been set for March 28th at 8:30 in the morning. All parties to the litigation or a representative must be in attendance. To date, more than 200 cases of abuse have been filed against Guam priests, Capuchin brothers, and other members of the Archdiocese of Agana, including Catholic school staffers. The local archdiocese has since filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The Guam Election Commission Board meeting in Hagåtña now. Executive Director Marie Pangilinan says monthly expense reports and travel requests will go before the board, but also on the agenda, an election for the Guam Election Commission.
We'll see the election of the chair and the vice chair. The law requires that before the end of March, there'll be an election.
Also on the agenda, discussion on the dismissal of Ken Leon-Guerrero's lawsuit against the agency. The lawsuit called for the GEC to count portions of spoiled ballots. Pangilinan said she'll also ask the board to approve 3 travel requests relative to GEC staffers receiving off-island training to boost their election certifications. $2.6 million, that's how much the Office of Public Accountability estimates GovGuam lost in collecting additional limited gaming tax from the top 5 nonprofit organizations running bingo operations during calendar years 2014 to 2017. In those 3 years, those top 5 NPOs grossed $81.3 million, or an average of $20.3 million in income from bingo per year. This income is subject to a 4% limited gaming tax, or LGT. Because of the conflicting laws, the LGT was only applied to gross receipt less payouts for winnings, which resulted in reduced collections. Bingo, conducted by NPOs, is Guam's second largest gaming activity next to electronic gaming devices. Making matters worse, the Department of Revenue Tax, the OPA, found the agency hasn't been assessing the LGT from December 2017 to December 2018 because of a lack of designated staff. Well, sports is coming up next, but first, a look at your island weather.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila Flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 Flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
Make every day a plus.
to promise to share a half-day spirit and to protect our culture. Like, say, and happy day! Home down!
It also means promising to keep our island clean.
Like cleaning up the beach? That sounds so easy.
It is. Anyone can sign up, even kids just like us.
How do kids sign up? It's easy. Moms and dads call the Guam Visitors Bureau and sign your kid up to take the test.
All kids get certificates, bags, and can enjoy cultural activities at the signing ceremony.
We are half-a-day pledge kids, and you can be too.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. I'll get to some rugby news in just a bit. But first off, this week's Game Changer segment. Check it out. Father Duenas Friars Sr. Nick Akamoto is ready to take the next step in his journey. Nick has been a Friar rugby player since his freshman year, and he advanced quickly, securing a starting slot as a sophomore. While the defending champion Friars lost some starters to graduation, they're still in the hunt for a fourth consecutive title.
That's just a testament to our program. You know, we're always looking to next man up. And, you know, we have a lot of seniors who've been playing since freshman year, but it's great to see that, you know, the underclassmen have an interest in the sport as well.
The Friars are heading into the IIAAG Rugby Championship game. FD will face cross-village rivals, the GW Geckos. The rivalry extends from the football season, as the two teams have met up in the finals for several years. FD's only loss of the season came at the hands of GW, so Nick and the Friars will bring their A game.
That loss, you know, it was tough, but one thing that we all got together and we realized that, you know, it's not anything given to us. We have to keep working for it. So it's just been something that we've been trying to get back to since day one, that we need to work for what we're given.
As a junior, Akamoto was a second-team All-Island selection with FD, winning their third straight championship for rugby. Nick enjoys the opportunity to let off some steam and represent FD and the Brotherhood on the field.
We're all looking for not just to win, but we're looking to do something greater as a team. We're not just focused on the win, but we're also focused on improving on each other each game and making sure that we're all up to par and keeping each other accountable.
With 40 straight wins, culture is a success with the Friar football program. Nick was a Friar freshman at FD when the streak started. In his junior year, he made second-team All-Island. His senior year, he was a first-team All-Island offensive lineman.
In the last 4 years, we've had a lot of success, and you know, we all just kept it in the back of our minds that we're not just playing for ourselves, we're playing for everyone on the field and everyone who's been on that field. So looking back to previous teammates, looking back to previous alumni, everyone put their heart and soul in that field, and we're just putting ours on there too.
While Nick certainly has athletics down, his academics are also on point. He rocks a 3.6 GPA, takes AP Government and Literature, is a National Honor Society student. Nick said attending FD has taught him to be self-accountable. He also says FD's leadership leads by example, so it's easy to find role models.
The administration at our school, you know, Mr. Temo Perez and, you know, Mr. Thompson, they really did a lot of work at the school, and, you know, most of that wasn't really even for the school. Sometimes it's for the organizations that chose to use the school as a place to, you know, do their events, and they were always putting in the work. So it really inspired me. You know, I can't just be sitting around when my administration's working. I have to go put in that work too.
As he closes out his senior year, Nick stays humble in victory and defeat. He stays strong in the faith and strong on the field, and that's what makes Nick Akamoto a game changer. A jersey presentation ceremony was held late yesterday afternoon at the Guam Rugby Field in Dedido. Sponsors were on hand calling out the names of the players and handing out their jerseys. The members of the team will be representing Guam as part of the youth development teams. The girls' U19 team will compete in Kowloon, Hong Kong, in one of the biggest 7-a-side girls tournament in Asia. Teams from New Zealand, Australia, USA, and Laos, to name a few. The tournament will be hosted by the Sai Kung Stingrays Rugby Club. This will be a first for the U14 boys, as they will be making history for the island. This is the youngest boys youth squad competing in 10-a-side rugby competition. The boys will compete against 16 boys teams in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The KL Tigers are the hosts for the competition, with an expected 100 teams from the U8 to U18 divisions taking to the pitch.